OLAP and OLTP process, how it is going to be work in the today's environment with SAP S/4HANA with HANA database. We have seen some couple of slides about related to the process. Okay, so this is the overview about the complete what is the difference between the OLAP and OLTP process. We have seen the source of data, how the source of data is going to be triggered. We have seen the purpose of the data. We have seen the processing of the speed. And okay, we have seen the database design, how optimally they have been designed the database from the OLAP system to the OLTP system. As I told you yesterday, there are three different copies of the data, like analytical data, acceleration data, and the transactional data. So earlier these three are going to be differentiated into three different copies. Now after combining this OLAP and OLTP together, what happening? We have only one copy of data within the SAP HANA database. And moreover, you can see here the aging of the data. When I come to the aging of the data, okay, when we talk more about the OLTP process is nothing but the current data. Actually, we can call it as the current data. As I told you yesterday, we discussed that the current year data is nothing but I am using SAP from past 10 years. I am using SAP from past 10 years. So what is happening? We are retrieving the data. Means we are refreshing our database. We are processing the ETL process, and we are moving the data to the analytical system. That analytical system is nothing but your OLAP system. We are moving all the historical data, means past 4 years of the data, we are moving to the analytical system. Why? Because we have only the current year of data within the current database system. So when you come to the aging of the data with the OLTP system is nothing but your OLTP system is nothing but your operation system, day-to-day transactions which you are going to be posting. Analytical system is nothing but decision-making support system. That is completely different system actually. So current system is nothing but you have the current data, and the historical data is available in the OLAP process earlier. I'm talking about the SAP traditional database. And backup and recovery also. So backup, okay, rigorously operational data is critical to run the business data. Loss is likely to be, okay, entitled significant in-memory loss and the legal liability. So that is nothing but where every time we have to take the backup of the data. So until or unless if it doesn't have any backup, something goes wrong with the database, you are going to lose the huge amount of the data from the database where we cannot retrieve back. So something like backup is going to be required. Every time we need a backup, until or unless if it doesn't need a backup, so we are going to lose a lot of data if something goes wrong with the database. So this is what exactly which is going to be happening with the OLTP system. Every time we need a backup, there is one more database. We are going to take the backup of all the current data to the backup system, which is going to be required. Now, after moving on to the SAP S/4HANA, with underlying database as a HANA database, we have a huge memory now. We have a huge memory. That huge memory is nothing but we are going to be calling it as the in-memory database. So the huge memory, we are talking about the huge memory. So now, earlier there is no concept of in-memory. When I take the traditional database, this is the traditional database. When I call it as a traditional database, let us take as any database. We can call it as any database. Any database. So we every time rigorously, every day after, every automatically or quarterly or something like we are backupping our system so that we have the backup data which is going to be ready. If current database, if the OLTP system goes wrong with something like a critical situation, like anything which is down or something like we are losing the data, whatever maybe the situations are going to be very bad. So we don't have. So whenever I want to retrieve any kind of data, what is happening here? What is happening? There is a complete disk process is going to be happening in the backend. So this is the secondary access device. As I discussed in the first initial class, if you are taking any database apart from HANA database, we are calling the database as a secondary access device. We are calling it as a secondary access device. So completely disk process is going to be happen to retrieve the data back to our query process. Now, after moving on to the HANA database, now I just migrated my system. From the traditional database to HANA database. This is nothing but my HANA database. When I call it as a HANA database, I'm calling it as an in-memory database. I'm giving the nomenclature as in-memory database. So this is my in-memory. I'm taking the RAM. I'm taking the RAM as my in-memory. So the total complete capacity of my HANA database is, let us assume that is going to be a 3 TB of data. Okay, 3 TB. Your complete database is going to be the 3 TB. Now, within the HANA database, I have one more database which is going to be called as the in-memory database. This is the concept of in-memory database now. So this database is nothing but I'm taking the RAM. You can afford the RAM now, okay, which is very, very cheap. So you can use the RAM as your secondary database within the HANA database system. So this concept, this is going to be called as a DRAM, where I'm going to be calling it as the database RAM. Okay, so you may get a doubt now. The complete database capacity of your HANA is going to be the 3 TB. So I should take the same capacity of the database as a RAM in the in-memory. It is not required that you should have the same capacity. You should have the same volume. That is nothing but you should have the same storage of 3 TB data of HANA database equally to your DRAM. You can take the 3 TB of RAM, or you can take the 1 TB of RAM, or you can take the 2 TB of RAM. It depends upon the requirement. It depends upon the complete requirement of the client. It is not by your decision. It has to be come out from the client. You have to see the volume of the data. You have to see the volume of the data, the day-to-day transactions which are getting posted, or monthly transactions which are getting posted, or weekly transactions. Depends upon the nature of the volume of the data you're getting posted in the database. So at what level the capacity of RAM is going to be required. So it is normally if I take in any company, okay, because I have been working in many projects. Normally clients will not go for more than 2 TB of data. Okay, that is nothing but 2 TB. Okay, we are going to be affording about 2 TB of RAM. So what is happening here? What is happening here? Totally 2 TB plus 3 TB, totally 5 TB of data is available in the SAP HANA database. Very, very important. Now, whenever the data is getting posted, whenever the transactional data we are posting to your HANA database, now the data will be first, it will go and store in the DRAM. Very, very important. The data will go and store in the DRAM, not in the HANA database, not in the HANA database. So the whatever the current year of data which is going to be available, whatever the current year of data means, the transactions which you have posted from the January to till the month of December 2018, all the data is available in the DRAM. So the DRAM is called as an in-memory database. So what is the concept of in-memory database? So it is going to remove all the aggregates. Very, very important. I tell you what is the meaning of aggregates here. It is going to remove all the aggregates, predefined aggregates. And the second point is I'm writing here. Please, very, very important certification question to all of you. So the in-memory database, what it is going to do? It is going to remove predefined, I'll write here, predefined aggregates, aggregation. Predefined aggregations are going to be removed. And what is the second one? Yes, the first thing is nothing but I'm going to remove the predefined aggregation part. And the second one, there is no materialized view. Okay, no materialized view. And third one, no duplications. No duplications of the data now. From today onwards, we are not going to see any kind of duplication of the data. Very, very important. See, what is meant to be a duplication here? See, earlier, if you take any kind of report, for example, I'm taking a GL balance report. GL balance report. Okay, in the GL balance report, I see the cost center or something like cost element is getting duplicated 2 times, for example. Okay, so now in SAP S4HANA, so the SAP S4HANA, as I removed all the pre-aggregation part from the database view, I don't have any concept of the duplication point of view now. Okay, see here. Okay, see, one second, I'll explain the concept here. Okay, see, if I take a database table, for example, I'm taking a database table now. Okay, this is your database table. For example, I'm talking about the traditional database. This is exactly, we are going to be calling it as a database table. I call it as a BSEC table. BSEC, a line item level table. On the line item level table, we have so many aggregations. Okay, so you have the aggregations. So the aggregations are going to be built on your database tables like this. The aggregations are going to be built on the database tables like this. There are so many aggregations will be done. Okay, to compile the data, there will be so many aggregations will be done. In between, there will be some indexes will be there. In between, there will be some indexes will be there. So what is happening? Your system is getting aggregated. Okay, your database table is getting aggregated with other index tables or something like there is a diagram also given by from the SAP side. Actually, there is some diagram also given from the SAP side in the certification materials. If I open the certification material, I hope I have I'm going to get that material. 1 second, I'll also show the diagram, very important diagram actually. So there is a one important diagram has been given from the SAP side also. So let me just bring down the diagram. So instead of putting the diagram on the board, so the diagram which I had to show that will be very, this is the what exactly I told. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. This is the normal one. Okay, yesterday we are discussing about the same concept here. Okay, so online transactional processing OLTP, the OLTP was separated online analytical system. Quite simple. Okay, database model. Yesterday we discussed all these things. Okay, the concept is very clear to us. Okay, now this is what exactly which is going to be happening. If I take any kind of database tables, earlier I'm talking about in my traditional database, if I want to retrieve any kind of data, actually on the top of your database tables, we are going to have some aggregation part. This is what exactly on the top of your database tables, additional objects needs to be improved the performance. Okay, so what exactly? I am writing a new query, for example. Hey, client is asking me, hey Mahesh, can you please develop one vendor aging analysis report, a customized report? I'm asking about not the standard one. I want a customized report. So when my technical people, when they have taken the functional specification and the logic behind that to extract the data, to develop the report. So we have given a lot of inputs to them. So based on the inputs, what my technical team is going to do, the technical team, they are going to start the development of the report. They're going to start the development of the report. So they're looking out for the tables which are going to be required for the vendor aging analysis. So from which tables, what data has to be extracted. So we have already given the parameters. We have already given the input technical logic to the technical people. Now they have started doing the logic developments. Now, what these technical people are going to do, so when they are going to take the database table, on the database table, whatever the data you are executing from this database table, so to streamline the process, to bring the complete complexity of the extracting of the data, what the technical people are going to do, they are going to write some aggregations on the top of your database table to aggregate the data, so you get the report so very speedily without any compiling, with less compiling part, with more effective and efficient with a high throughput. So based on the keeping of the concept, okay, so what they will do, they will do some aggregation on the top of the database table. They'll do some aggregating of the data, aggregating of the index table. So the performance is going to be improving a lot. The performance of the data execution is going to be improving a lot because of this aggregation part. So if you see here, the traditional database model is complex, and the complex data model causes the application code to be complex. It has to be found that up to 70% of the application code is built specifically for the performance of the application. So 70% of the coding we are writing, okay, behind the logic, okay, the 70% of the whatever the coding, the above coding we are going to be writing, it is only for to improve the performance only. Earlier, I'm talking in the traditional database system actually. So we are using the performance issue. So that adds no value to the core business function within the complex data model and the integrity with the complication. Okay, now using this power of SAP HANA, now no need to do any kind of aggregations on the top of your database table to improve the performance. Very important. Now this aggregation part has been completely removed out. Now no need to do any kind of aggregation on the top of your database. Why? Because yesterday I discussed something about the application optimization. What is application optimization? Earlier, my database table is not going to do any kind of compiling. The compiling will be done from the application side. Now, after moving on to the HANA database, this compiling part has been moved to the database, not to the application. So we are optimizing the application. So the application is nothing but a server. I should not burden my server. I should not put more performance on my server issue. Okay, so what the SAP HANA database has done, the SAP HANA database, okay, the HANA, we can aggregate in a sub-seconds for any line item table. We do not need any pre-aggregation aggregates from today onwards. No need to do any kind of aggregation. All the aggregation tables have been completely eliminated from today onwards. No need to do any kind of aggregations on the top of your database tables from today onwards. I've completely eliminated the aggregation process because I have a powerful in-memory database system within my HANA database. Very, very important concept this is. So maybe you're not expecting any questions for the inter-certification point of view, but from the knowledge point of view, if you are going to answer any questions to any person, your friend or colleague or whoever, maybe your superiors, so very, very information purpose, and it is the logically it has been proved. Very, very important this is. So we do not need any pre-built aggregation. SAP, this is very, very important. SAP HANA can generate any view of the data at the runtime or at the same source table. SAP HANA organizes the data using the columnar storage. What do you mean by columnar storage? Earlier, we have the database tables with a row based. All the data is going to be stored in the row based. Now, after moving on to the HANA database, I made the row based to the column based. Okay, one example I'll show here. So this is my SAP. I'll take one table. Okay, I'm going to be taking one table here. For example, I'll take one table which is going to be okay. Yeah. So I'm just using the transaction code SE11. Very, very important here. I'll take one table. I'll take the BISEC table, which is going to be called as a line item level table. This is my completely SAP S4 HANA with underlying HANA database. You can ask me a question. This is completely on-premise system. It is not a cloud, my dear friends. It is the on-premise. It is the on-premise system. Now, currently, it is not a private cloud. It is a completely on-premise system. So how do you tell that this is the on-premise system? How do I notice that this is the on-premise system? So simple, very simple. Very, very important. Go to the systems. Go to the systems from menu bar. There is the option is there is a system. Just scroll down. Here you will find a status. Okay, just click on the status. After you take the status, after you get the screenshot of the status here, you can see here the database is going to be the HDBC here. Very, very important. Database is going to be the HDB. HDB is nothing but HANA database. HANA database. Yes, the database is going to be the HANA database only. Okay, but how do I know whether the system is on with SAP S4 on a 1709 or 1809 or 1610? How do I know that? So there are totally 4 on-premise releases are there: 1511, 1610, 1709, and 1809. How do I know that? So if you click on the property, this is going to be called as the detailed properties of the system production version. Okay, if I go into the product version, which product version you are using? If I click on the details, so these are going to be the details actually. These are going to be the details. You can see here, these are going to be the details. And here you can see that your system is on with S4 core. Very, very important. S4 core is nothing but your application. S4 core is nothing but your application. I'll tell you, very, very important. Okay, 1 second. Okay, now S4 core, very, very important. This is nothing but your application. You're in SAP S4 HANA system right now. Your core system is going to be on SAP S4 HANA core. Now, how many totally core systems has been released as of now? 1511 is one of the core system. Okay, 1610 is one of your core system. 1709, and today we have 1809. Totally 4 core systems. Totally 4 production releases has been released as of now. So, as per the terminology, so the core system, very, very important, please. This is going to be the core 100. This is going to be a core 101. This is your core 102. This is a core system. This is the core system versions. We can call it as a versions actually. This is the core system 103. Very, very important. Now, currently we are into the 103 core system now, rightly. We are going to be using. So if I come here, you can see here. Here the release, the SAP core release of 1709. I'm talking about the 1709. You can see the release of 102. This is the SAP S4 HANA core 102. 102 is nothing but 1709. 103 is nothing but 1809. If I want to download any notes or something like patches related to the something business process, I got some notes. I want to implement that note in my SAP. So you will get a clear understanding, okay, whether this note is applicable only for 102 release or 103 release or 101 release or 100 release. So they will give the complete information in the note actually. So you have to go through the note and see for which release this note is going to be applicable. So based on the release note only, you have to install that note and you have to apply the note in your system. If the note is not meeting your requirement, if it is the note is 101 release, only for 101 release and behind it, that note cannot be implemented into the system. Why? Because my system is currently on 102 release, which is 1709. So this is nothing but your SAP S4 core. Core is nothing but your application. Very, very important. And if I click on the install production versions, yes, by seeing the logic, I can, Rahul, you are very experienced, so that, okay, you by seeing this, all the things, you can give the information to us. But as a layman, as a first time, I want to know all these things, whether I'm into the 1709 or 1809. So if we click on this okay, if we click on this install production version, if we click on this, here you can see which version has been installed. This is the S4 core 102, very good. Now if I go into the deeper side, just 1 second, the system is very slow. One thing I'll tell you to all of you, as you being a functional consultant, now in this complete competitive world, I'm telling that being a functional consultant knowledge is not going to be enough. Very, very important, I'm telling. You should be somewhat at the technically, you should be somewhat technically, you should be as a strong enough. I'm not telling that you should be a completely technical way of behaving as a consultant, just like ABAPers. No, I'm not telling like that. But at least you should talk something about the technicality aspects about your systems and everything whenever you get any kind of issue. So you should be able to do some debugging at the programming level. You should not completely depending on the technical team. Now the world has become very competitive, my dear friends. Okay, leaning only from the functional side will not help you out to grow your career, I'm telling. You should be strong enough in the functional side also, at least some basic level. So here you can see here. So this is my SAP S4 HANA. This is my SAP S4 HANA on-premise with the 1709. Now currently we are using the Service Pack 01. Currently we are using the Service Pack 01. You can see here, Service Pack 01. Very, very important. Service Pack 02 has come, SPS 00 has come. So currently we are in SAP S4 HANA on-premise with the Service Pack 01. This is the 1709 system with the production version release called as the 102. 103 is for 1809, I'm telling. 103 is for the 1809. So this is what exactly which is called as on-premise system. You can see here, this is the SAP S4 HANA on-premise system. On-premise system over here. Is it clear to all of you? Any doubts?
No, I got it. Thanks.
Okay. Now if I go to the SC11, this is my BSEC table. This is nothing but my BSEC table. Earlier I'm taking one table here. So earlier we are using the concept called as a row based. Okay, because of the row based, okay, I don't have that much of compressing of the data. Earlier we are using the concept called as a row base. So this is nothing but my table, BSEC table. This is my BSEC table. And we are using the row base like this. Okay, whatever the data which is coming and storing, this will be under the row base like this. Okay, this will be completely on the row based. My database table is completely built on the row based tables. What happened? Okay, if I'm using the row base, what is happening here? I cannot do the compression of the data as much as an extent. Row based tables cannot be done. Okay, so the database tables have been divided into two storage devices. Okay, one is the row base, second one is going to be called as a columnar storage. So if I'm using the row base, I cannot do the compression of the data. For example, if I take a master data, if I take a master data of Mr. John, if I take a master data of Mr. John, okay, John, okay, here in the first row, I can see the name of the John. In the second row, I can see the account number, that is the John account number 123456. And in the third row, I see the city of the John. I see the city of the John. And in the fourth row, I see the country. Like this, in each and every row, I can see the information about the John, because because this is what exactly which is taking a huge amount of my data occupation. Also, one more drawback here is the database, which is going to be taken as a current with the row base, is going to be a huge affordable in memory. I mean, so that huge affordable database you need to take out, because I cannot do any kind of compression of the data. So now what the SAP has done, instead of doing this row based, why can't we move on to the columnar storage? No need to do this kind of row base from today onwards. So what the SAP has done here, they made it as a columnar storage now. The same table, instead of using the row base, so what I'm going to be using, I am using the columnar like this. Have an example also. I'll take one example also. Now I am taking the columnar storage like this. What is happening if I want to extract the master data of Mr. John? Everything I can extract from one column directly from here. So directly I can get the information about the John. I can get that information about the account number. I can get all the information about the related to the city, the address, communication details, the bank account details of Mr. John. Everything will get from the one column from today. Earlier, I had to use it for the multiple rows. Now I need to. Now I'm able to extract the data with one column. So what is happening here? Because of moving out from the row base to the column base, I have the compression. I can do the compression of the data as much as an extent, but in the row base, I cannot do the compression of the data. That is one of the drawback in the row base. So that is the reason I have moved from the row base to the column base. So here in this example, I'll explain you one example here. I brought one example to all of you. 1 second. Yeah. This is a common example actually. See, this is the traditional way. The first one which you are able to see on my desktop, this is the traditional way. Okay. This is what exactly I am able to see now. Okay. The one row France, the person is going to be called as a net, and the quantity of the sales quantity he has been done with the 10 quantity. Next one from the same country, okay, France, Mr. Tony, he has been given order quantity of 12. Okay, from UK, Mr. Ned, the same person. Okay, means the same sales order has been raised by the same person from the different countries. Means if I see here, France is getting repeated for the two columns, and the Ned, Mr. Ned is getting repeated with the two rows. Here you can observe very carefully. The same person, he is doing the business in two different countries. Means he is doing the business in France, and also he is doing the business in UK. Very, very important. I can segregate this, but what is happening? The problem here is, once I have been using the data as a row base, so I cannot do any kind of segregation of the data. That is only the drawback. So the row is going to be occupied. Means the first row is going to be occupied with the first sales order. The second row is going to be occupied with the second sales order. It is not bothered about whether you are using the same country or the same person or the same quantity. It is only using the transaction data, and it is coming and storing in your database table. So here I can see two things. One is the same country with the same person, but the quantity may be differing here. Why can't I do the segregation? Means when I call it as the segregation, why can't I bring this person net into one column? Why can't I bring this country into the one column, so that I can use some more data? I can have some more database which I can use it for other purpose. But that cannot be happened in the row base. So what the SAP has done, instead of doing like this, so the SAP has splitted this row base into column base like this. So in the first column, you can see the country. In the second column, you can see the number of persons. In the third column, you can see the quantity over here. So how the data is going to be retrieved? The data is going to be retrieved like this. You can see here. So this is the logical table. Logical table is nothing but your completely table which is storing the data here. If I see here row base, this is what exactly I'm calling it as a row base. France, Mr. Ned, 10 quantity. Okay, France, Tony with a 12 quantity. Okay, UK, Mr. Ned, again 8 quantity. So instead of doing this, see here you can see here how much data volume is going to be taking. But if I split the data into the columnar, you can see here. So this is what exactly I'm calling it as a columnar storage. What happening here? So automatically system what it will do in the first column wise, okay, it will split the data into country wise. It will split the data into the person wise, and it will split the data into the quantity wise. So whenever you are expecting, now I'm asking a report. Hey Mahesh, do one thing. I want a complete report of Mr. Ned. I want a complete how much order he has been raised, from which country the order has been raised. I want a complete report. In the traditional database, if I'm using the same concept, it is taking more than 5 to 10 minutes. I'm talking about in any other database. Why? Because the retrieving of data is slow, very, very slow. But if I use the columnar storage in my SAP HANA database, I can give the report within 3 to 4 seconds, not even more than 5 seconds also. Because the speed and the storing of the device is going to be the highly isolated within my SAP S4 HANA. So how the logic is going to work? This is the logic. See here, this is the logic, how it is going to be working the data here. See, very, very important here. So this is the order number. The first column is going to be the first column is going to be the order number, and this is the country, this is the product what is going to be purchasing, and this is the sales quantity. This is what exactly, this is the sales quantity about the materials. Now if I see here France, it is only repeating only one time. Italy, it is repeating 2 times. Spain, it is only 1 time. Denmark is getting repeated 2 times, and the Belgium is only 1 time. And you can see the quantity of the material also. Now what the SAP will do automatically, this is the row based. This is completely row based. Now what the SAP will do automatically in the row base, it will only identify the countries in the sequential order. Yes, Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, and Spain. It will only look out for the countries. It is not going to be repetitive. Okay, even though if you see the row base, it is completely repetitive. If you see the Denmark has been repeated 2 times with the different sales order numbers 460, 461. One is with the corn, one is with the rice. But here the country is going to be the same. So in the columnar we are able to see only one country over here. So in the same country, very, very important. In the same country, if you see in the 5th row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th row. Here you can see that. Okay, that is in the 5th row. Very, very important here. This is what exactly the column is getting segregated into 2. Means that Denmark has been repeated 2 times. You can see here, number 2. Number 2 is nothing but your column-based storage, which is going to be required here, which is very, very important. Where was the order was about 460? Yes, the order was about the 460 number here. So automatically, what is happening here? The system is going to identify the quantity. The system is going to segregate the data into the columnar. So one column I see the country. In second column I can see the product. In third column I can see the sales order quantity. It will give the data as much as quick, which is going to be the possibility for you. So what the SAP has done, instead of using the row base, why can't you go for the columnar storage? If I go into the BSEC table, if I go into the display, here you can see the technical settings. This is my database table. Here you can see the technical settings. If I click on the technical settings, if we go to the DP specific properties, very, very important. If I go to the DP specific properties, here you can see here. So the storage type have been moved from the row base, and the storage type have been moved to the columnar storage. It is undefined, means neither it can be the row base, neither it can be the column base. It's a very new table you are going to be defining. It is not a storage. It is the database table is not the database table does not exist in the SAP S4 HANA. So it is going to be defined as undefined. So now earlier we are in the row base. Now we are moving on to the columnar storage. So in the same example, if I see here, how many times, if I see that, how many times the country Denmark, very, very important. How many times the country Denmark has been repeated? Here the 2 times. Now from in the columnar storage, so the fifth row, but according to the column wise, it is the second one. You can see here, it is the second one. So the country is only repeated with the second time. Very, very important here. This is what the logic. And if I come to the Italy, it is the fourth, very, very important. It is the fourth one according to my list. See here, 1, 2, 3, fourth one. And you can see the indexes over here. Okay, means second, fourth, and 8th. So only one country, only one column for the country, only one column for the product, and only one column for the sales order from today. This is what exactly the logic. This is what the speed. So this columnar storage, this all the columnar storage, everything I am going to be doing in my in-memory database from today. So what is happening? It is going to remove the predefined aggregation. Now no need to have any kind of aggregation. This is the predefined aggregation. So now we are going to have the user of columnar, which means that indexes are usually not needed. Very, very important. Indexes are usually not needed any. They can still be created, but usually offer only the minor improvements. So in addition to losing the aggregation and indexes from the database, we can remove the huge amounts of the application code that deals with the aggregation and the indexes. My dear friends, as I told you yesterday, in the traditional way, we are doing all the compilation. All the aggregation and the indexes will be done in your application, not in the database table. So the volume of the data is very, very high. So you can experience some runtime errors. But now, after removing these aggregations and the indexes from the top of your database tables, earlier we have using this aggregation and the indexes. Earlier, we are developing this aggregation and the indexes on the top of your database to improve the performance. That for the sake of improving of the performance only, we are developing. Okay, we are writing some logic and we are aggregating some aggregation on the top of your database tables. This is additional code which I am writing. Earlier, I'm talking in your SAP ECC system. I'm talking. You're writing some additional coding to improve the performance of the database, because all the aggregations and all the compiling will be done in your application. So because of that, I'm writing some code to improve the performance. Now, in SAP S/4HANA, I don't have this aggregation and the indexes from today onwards. Limited number of aggregations and the indexes will be there. Not as much as what you've been experiencing in your traditional way. Limited number of indexes tables will be there here. But what is the purpose? Now the purpose of removing the aggregation is not required. Why? Because the purpose of removing aggregation is required. Why? Because now I'm moving all this compilation and aggregation to the database table. So there will be predefined aggregations will be there in the database table. Now I'm optimizing my application part. Optimizing my application part because my database is going to do all this kind of compiling and the aggregation from today onwards. So that is the logic. That is the beauty of the SAP. Now we have been moved on to which will be left out to the simplification course. So that is what exactly I've been discussing. This is what exactly the functionality of your in-memory. So when I talk about the in-memory, so we don't have the aggregation. We don't have the materialized view. Now there will be no duplication of the data. So because of these three, I can see the speed is very, very main. The throughput of data is very, 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 very high when comparing with your traditional database. The throughput is nothing but the time, the number of volume of the data, the time which has been taken is called as the throughput. There are thousands and millions of records are available. Now I'm extracting the data within fraction of seconds. I can extract and I'll give the data to you now from today onwards because of the in-memory, the powerful in-memory database within my HANA. So this is what exactly now from the Fiori, if you want any kind of analytical reports from the Fiori, we are using the front end as a Fiori from today onwards. From the Fiori, if you are expecting any kind of analytical reports, now, yes, hey, I want some analytical reports. For example, I want a complete daily sales report. Complete daily sales report I want. This is the analytical report for you. Are going to take this analytical report. So when I'm extracting this, when I'm executing this analytical report, I'm going to expect the data on my database within fraction, not more than 3 to 4 seconds. That is the speed which I'm going to be expected. How the speed? The speed has been improved because of my in-memory database. Because of my there is no disk process here. No disk processing, very, very important here. In the in-memory database, there is no disk processing. Whereas you are in the HANA database, there is a disk process is there. But within the in-memory, no need to have any kind of disk processing. Very, 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 very important. So all the current year of data is going to be available in the DRAM. The current year of data is nothing but your current year, means from the January to December or maybe up to 2 years of data. This is available. So this is going to be called as a hot data. This is going to be called as a hot data, hot storage. We can call it as a hot storage. And whereas this is what exactly, this is the hot storage, and this is what we are going to be calling it as a cold storage. This is what exactly you are going to be calling it as a cold storage. So your current year of data is available. Your current data is available in your DRAM, and all the historical data is available in your HANA disk process system. So whenever you want to execute any kind of data, whenever you want to extract any kind of report, so that report is getting extracted from your in-memory database. And yeah, this is what exactly the powerful in-memory database is going to execute it and giving the report to you within a fraction of seconds. So that is what exactly the beauty. So when I brought down the data, so here because of this, now you can see the compression. This is what exactly. This is one of the diagram. Okay, this is what. The top end, the red color one, okay, you're able to see this is going to be called as actuals. This is going to be called as your current year data. That is 2014, 2015, 16 data is available here. And all the historical data I can see here in the HANA database. This is the in-memory. The red one is nothing but your in-memory database. And all the historical data is available in your cold storage, that is your HANA database. Mean 2011, 12, 13, 14, every data is available. Only the current year actuals are going to be available in the. Now you can divide. So earlier, what is happening? You are using the ETL process. You are extracting, transformation, and loading the data to the BW system. Means your operational, your decision making support is complete. Your analytical system is completely differentiated. Means you have a different server for the analytical reporting and your different database for your OLTP process. Now I combine both OLAP and OLTP together. Now you can see the data. Traditionally, for example, if you take this data, complete data, in traditional database, this is 593 GB of data is available. When I call it as a traditional, you can take any database. Either it is the Oracle database or DBMS database or RDBMS database, you can take any database. So now the same data is about 593 GB. When I am moving on the HANA database, when the same data, so I'll just put a diagram. This is a traditional database, Oracle database. Assume that this is the Oracle database. $593 GB of data is there. Now I want to migrate this data. Okay, now I want to migrate the data. Now I'm doing the DB migration from SAP Oracle database or from Oracle database to from another database. This is going to be called as your HANA database. Yes, very good. Now you are migrating. That is going to be called as the DB migration. This is called as the DB migration. Now what I'm going to do, I'm moving on to the SAP HANA database. I'm not doing any kind of application changes. I'm just migrating my data. I'm just moving from the Oracle database to HANA database only. So when I brought this data into the HANA database, you can see here, because of the traditional approach with the HANA database, because of that, now I can see the compressing of the data up to 180.6 GB of the data. I can do the compression. Why? Because I'm using the columnar storage. I don't have any kind of aggregations from today onwards. I don't have any metallized view from today onwards. So what is happening? The volume of the data, I can do the compression in my HANA. So where is 593 GB of data? Where is 118.6 GB of data? That much of compression I have done. So you're compressing the data. So you compress the data from 593 GB data to 118.6 GB of the data in the HANA database. That level of compression I'm going to be seeing here. Then this is from the HANA point of view. Now, after you get your core, your SAP S4 core, this is your nothing but your application here. This is nothing but your application. Now, when I'm moving the same data, the data again, it is getting compressed up to 42.4 GB of data. My God, what a compression I'm going to be seeing here. Because in SAP S4 HANA core, what is happening now, all the tables have been removed. In the HANA database, when I move the data to the HANA, the tables are as it is only. Till the second stage, whatever the tables you are using, whatever the aggregate tables, index tables, all the tables, just I'm migrating the data from your traditional database to HANA database, but the table data structure, everything will look like same. But I can see the compression of the data to 118.6 GB. But now after moving on to the SAP S4 HANA, now very, very important. There is one more. Now this is the SAP S4 HANA and the underlying database is going to be your SAP HANA database. Same. Okay, very, very important. The underlying database is going to be this. This is completely, I'm going to be calling it as SAP S4 HANA. SAP S4 HANA. Now your underlying database will be your HANA database only. SAP HANA database only. Now, earlier your system is on SAP ECC. Earlier your system is on SAP ECC. This is your SAP ECC with 6.0 or 7.0, whatever maybe. Now I converted your system to SAP. Now I converted your system to SAP ECC to SAP S4 HANA. Now my application has been moved. Now application has been moved to the next generation business suite, which is called as S4 core, which is called as SAP S4 HANA core. Now the same data, 118.6 GB of the data. Earlier we have the aggregations. Earlier we have the indexes. Earlier we have lot many tables are available. Earlier we have lot many tables in this. Okay, we have the very, very important. We have the aggregation tables. Aggregation tables, we have the index tables, we have different types of tables. We have different types of tables. Aggregation tables, like we have something like summarization tables also we have earlier. Summarization tables also, we have different types of tables earlier. These tables are also available in the traditional GP. The same tables have been moved to the HANA database. Now, after moving on to the SAP S4 HANA, I see that now after moving on to the SAP S4 HANA, I see that, okay, these tables are moved. Okay, now these tables are no more available. Very, very important. These tables are no more available now in our SAP S4 HANA. Now, all these tables are not available. They have been moved as a compatibility view. I'll tell you what is the compatibility view in the next classes. So these tables are no more available. Now there is only one single source of table. Now there is only one table which is called as universal journal entry table. Now there is only one table have been brought up. The volume of the tables have been decreased now. 90%, 90 to 95% of the tables have been removed. Now there is only one table which is called as the universal journal entry table. Now you can see how much data has been compressed. Okay, yes, that okay. If I'm telling that, okay, Rahul, okay, there is one thing actually. If you are removing this aggregation table, so that the data is available after migrating the data, after moving on to the SAP S4 HANA, I'm going to lose the data. The data is available. The data is available, but the data will be available in the compatibility view process. I'll tell you what is the compatibility view. There is a compatibility view is there. The data is available. All the tables are available here also in SAP S4, but they are not there. But they are not going to be called as a transparent table. They are going to be called as a view tables only. I'll tell you what is a view tables. I'll come into that classes also. Okay, they are going to be converted as a view tables. Now, after you convert your system from SAP ECC to SAP S4 HANA, now you can see the data here. Now you can see the data. How much it has been compressed? 42.4 GB of data has been. See the limited. Now, if we are thinking in a realistic way, you can carry this data in your mobile also now. You can carry your data in your mobiles also now. So this 42.4 GB of data, when I see in actuals, see here, when I see in actuals, it is 8.4 GB, 8.4 GB, very, very important. And the remaining 34.4 GB, 34 GB will be available in your historical data now. So the actuals, if I take the actuals of 8.4 GB out of 1 TB of my in memory, only 8.4 GB of data is available in my actual, that is in the current, and the remaining 34.34 GB of data is available in the historical. That is what exactly I'm calling it as the cold storage with the hot storage with the hot device about here. See the compression of the data. This is what exactly the beauty of my SAP, which the concept has been brought down as a SAP S/4HANA with the in-memory database. So what the in-memory database is going to tell you, the in-memory database is going to tell you like this. Okay, so stop using yesterday database. Okay, yesterday data to make today decision with SAP S. Okay, what is this? Stop using yesterday's data to make the today decision. If you want, yesterday I given one example to all of you. If you want a vendor aging analysis reports, up to 5 years of data I'm expecting, all the active customers. If you execute the data today, by tomorrow morning, you will get the data on your desktop. It's a completely post-mortem data, which is not at all useful for my decision making. If in this today's world of environment, if you see the HANA in-memory database software, it is very, very high speeded. First of all, because of the removing of aggregation, removing of the duplication. So because of not having this materialized view, the database is, the speed is, a tremendous speed has been improved a lot. Up-to-date information you are going to be getting in a fraction of a second. Why? Because the in-memory database, it is going to be eliminate the predefined aggregates. Now no need to have any aggregates, materialized view, to data duplication between the operational and the decision-making support. You will see a lot of data duplication when you are extracting the data from the BW system. Same data is available in the both the systems. Data duplication is very, 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 very high. Again, I need to export to Excel file. I need to remove the duplications. I had to work manually with Excel sheets. Now, no need to do, because your OLAP, OLCP system is running in one system now. But there will be no any data duplication from today onwards, my dear friends. So you'll get all the data in a real time. Real time is nothing but combining with OLAP and OLTP together is called as a real-time data migration. This is very, very important. You will get accurate data within a fraction of a second, which because of using the in-memory concept. How? Because of using the tremendous database approach. If I see here, there is a one table. I'll show that. Okay, there's a one table called as BSIS. Earlier, this table is available in my SAP traditional database. I'm talking about your SAP ECC. Okay, this is the index tables actually. BSIS is the open item, GL open item index table actually. Now, after moving on to the SAP S/4HANA, this table is no more available. This table is available, but it is only for the read access only. You cannot modify, you cannot delete, you cannot change this data into the table. You can only read the data. So this table data's technical properties have been removed now. If I click on the display, see here. If you see here, very, very important. Now you can see this table is going to be called as a DDL skill view. I'll tell you what is the skill view, everything in the coming class. Very important classes we are going to get. This is going to be called as a compatibility view. Data definition language SQL view. I'll tell you what is this data definition language SQL view. Now this table is not a view table. This table is not a transparent table. Earlier earlier it was an active table. Now this table is not an active table here. Why? Because I can see here, this table has been moved as a compatibility view. This is the compatibility view table. If I see the technical properties of this table, If I click on the technical settings of this particular table, I can see here. BSIS does not have any technical setting. Do you want to define the technical setting? Do you want to make it as a table now? Because in SAP S4 this table is no more available now. If I click on yes, you can see here this will be under your undefined table. See here, this is the undefined table, means this table is no more available. So there are some list of the tables which are no more available in our SAP S4HANA. These tables data is available, but you can see in the compatibility view that will explain the coming classes about all this. This is what exactly the concept of your HANA database. Guys, any doubts? Anybody?
Mahesh, this is Sayed here.
So yes.
Click right the table. So when we store the current data, right? So is there anything we can have this data in both in this table and the new table we have in?
No. Yeah, in the SAP S4HANA, the data will be available in the disk table and in memory. But what is going to do here? Okay, now whenever I want to extract any kind of data, first the query will go and extract the data from the in memory, not from the disk process.
Yeah, but is the data stored in both the tables or not?
No, both the data will be stored only for in the in memory. When you're extra, when the buffer is going to reach up to 95% in the in memory, I'll move the data. The historical data will be moved to the disk process.
Okay, but there is nothing in traditional database. We are not storing nothing here.
Nothing. Because the powerful tool we are going to be using called as the in-memory set. So current year data, see, if I call it as a actual data, it depends upon it. Okay, if you are taking the 2 TB of your in-memory, 2 TB is a huge memory, sir. Actually, 2 TB is nothing but a small memory. If you take a medium scale industries, at least 2 to 3 years of data will be available in the in-memory, if I'm not wrong. So
it depends, right? How big is your memory, right?
Exactly, it depends upon. That's what I'm telling. See,
Yeah.
in the starting of the class, I told that, okay, if I see this particular diagram, in the starting of the class, I told that, okay, it is not a compulsory that if you are taking the HANA license as a HANA database license for the 3 TB as a storage device, it is not a compulsory that your DRAM should be 3 TB. Even if you take 500 MB also, it is enough, if required.
Is there any standard in best practice? What will be the size?
No, sir, they will not recommend like this in SAP best practices, sir. Why? Because it depends upon the volume of the data of the transactions you are getting posted, sir.
Okay.
But we are not technically, but let me see also, okay? If before I throw the statement, let me also look into that, okay?
Sure. Thanks,
Yeah. Very, very important, sir. This is only I'm giving the knowledge from your subject point of view. Okay, this is not the way where we are going to be expecting any questions in the certification. This is only knowledge I'm sharing with you, all of you. Guys, anybody?
The only
Sir?
one table. Hi Mahesh, this is Rajesh here.
Rajesh.
This is the only one table, undefined one. Is there any other tables are also?
Oh, lot of there, sir. Lot of there. I'll explain you. The lot of tables have been earlier. What tables are there now? What tables are not there? Maybe I had the slide also. Example slide have been brought down here. Example one slide have been brought down. Not this slide doesn't contain. 1 second. There are a lot of tables.
One more quick question. Is there any way to identify the tables, like list of the tables? These are the undefined tables.
Yeah. You have a SAP S4 and a simplification list, sir. If you go to the simplification, I'll tell you. There's a simplification list is there. This is the simplification list. You can also download. I'll also share the simplification list. The simplification list tells about what simplification process has been simplified in SAP S4 and I compare with your SAP ECC. Okay. So if I go into the finance side, all the modules are available. If I go into the finance side, this is what exactly, okay, we can call it as a data model changer. See here, these are the tables. These are the original tables. Okay, now these original tables have been moved into the, okay, these have been moved into the source table, DDL SQL view table. You can see these, all the tables are no more available now in SAP S4. Not only these tables, if we come down, see here, these many tables are there. Many tables are there like this. This simplification, I will give the simplification. I'll download the latest on 1809 and I'll give it to you by tomorrow. You can download it, you can read it also.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Tomorrow we'll concentrate on the next session. Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Mahesh, I have one more question.
Yes, sir.
Will
Yes,
you
yes.
share all the certification materials to us, whatever you are showing?
That will be only shared by the Xenotech. That is only for the read access, but this is there is no downloading process in our Xenotech. Actually, only you can read the data, but you cannot download it.
Okay. No, but how do I know what is per certification?
And that I'll explain you. Not to worry about that.